What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How is everyone doing today? Sorry about the late start, kind of. I had a good gaming session yesterday, and I went to bed late. I don't know how long that was on, so I will repeat what I said. I had a very good gaming session yesterday. Um, so if you want to watch it, rumble.com/slash gaming with ghost or youtube.com/@ official gaming with ghost. Played some Helldivers 2. I had a lot of fun with some guys. We had a lot of laughs, and it was a good one. I had a really good session. So hopefully you'll go and check me out. Give me a follow and like there. But before you do that, make sure you watch this episode today and give me a follow like here. I am fucking tired. I'm exhausted as hell. Let's see. So, housekeeping. Follow me on X at officialwghost, and then check out rumble.com/withghost. That is the main channel. If anything goes wrong, everything gets shut down. Rumble will be the last bastion I'm at. YouTube.com/@withghost, and of course twitch.tv/officialwithghost. Those are your various options. Hold on. I gotta change everything. Apparently. There we go. There we go. Sorry. I had to change Twitch, make sure it was up to snuff. Now I gotta fucking do that every day, apparently. Okay. What does that mean? Okay, not important. I'll check that out later. So we're gonna cover day 9. That was yesterday of the Trump trial. I have no idea what happened. Wasn't really paying attention. So just be on the lookout. Just come with me and figure out. Yesterday, because there was no trial on Monday, didn't have a Trump trial to really do on Tuesday yesterday. So instead, I did a reaction stream. You can go check that out. I just reacted to a bunch of YouTube clips, and then I finally just I had so many at the point I just like, all right, fuck it, I'm ending it. So anyways, let's get to it. I've wasted enough time. I don't remember. They left off with a banking employee that was apparently like some sort of the banker of what's his face, Cohen's banker basically. So that's where they left off. Faro. They finished a cross examination of Pecker, and then they had like a few other women, or Trump's secretary, and then I think Farrow was next. Let's see. There's a recap there. Here. Oh, this is key. Yeah, okay. So I was right. So they finished Pecker's examination, testimony, whatever. We got Trump's secretary, and then finally the banker. God damn it, my fucking eye. swear, when I get the money, I'm gonna fucking get some LASIK. All right. All right. So let's get into it. So, Judge is back on the bench. Court is in session. We're going to continue with the direct examination. But first, Trump can attend son's graduation. Judge says. Judge said he'll allow Trump to attend his son Barron's graduation on May 17th. I don't think the May 17th date is a problem. Merchant said, noting that a jury was picked quickly and things have been moving. Judge is finally, which is weird because he said he was going to do this Thursday, but now apparently he's doing it now. Maybe it's just. But now apparently, maybe if the Thursday one is the other two, or the other three, or whatever. A judge has found Trump in contempt of violating his gag order. He handed down his written decision to the parties. Trump was fined $1,000 for each violation, so that's $9,000, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's counting the additional three he committed while this was pending. So maybe, I don't know. Trump is not reacting. Yeah, well, I mean, look, Trump knew he was going to get hit with the gag order violation. Of course, he's not really reacting. He's like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. It's not a big deal. Gary Farrow is back on the witness stand. The judge has called for the jury to be brought in. Jury's entering the courtroom. Prosecutor Rebecca Mangold has resumed questioning Michael Cohen's former banker, Gary Farrow. Prosecutor showing emails from bank accounts for Cohen. Prosecutor is showing emails from First Republic Bank about the opening of Essential Consulting bank account for Michael Cohen. Let's see. There's something. Okay. Mangold just showed emails regarding a Michael Cohen bank account. The type of business listed on the account document was consulting. Gary Farrow, Cohen's former banker, says that that is consistent with what Cohen told him about the purpose of the business. Was in a phone call. The jury is seeing Cohen's signature on the account documents. Let's see. Prosecutor Mangold is now showing documents that Cohen provided to the bank showing the LLC was created in Delaware. Gary Farrow's colleague, who opened Cohen's account, sent him an email on October 26, 2016. The account is good to go. Gave him wiring instructions and ordered checks. Farrow said it took about 5 or 6 hours to open the account for Essential Consultants. What he says is very quick for the process. Farrow said there's no indication given that the account Cohen set up would be related to a political candidate. That would be additional scrutiny if the bank had known that, but Farrow says. It's quite possible would have delayed the opening of an account for Essential Consulting had Cohen flagged it be used to pay expenses for a political candidate, Farrow says. We would certainly ask additional questions, Farrow said, adding that it's possible the account would not have been open. Farrow testified that using account to pay person in the adult film industry would require additional scrutiny. I don't know why I read the title. Farrow also testified that the banking paperwork did not indicate the account would be used to pay someone in the adult film industry. If he had, he testified it would require additional scrutiny and might not be opened at all. It is an industry that we do not work with. Mangold is now showing emails to and from Conan confirming a bank transfer of $131,000 from his home equity line of credit into a checking account. Within 23 minutes of opening the account, Conan made the transfer. The money was transferred to the newly opened Essential Consulting LLC. It was the money was transferred to. It was a second mortgage in the scenario. Farrow explained how Conan home equity line of credit confirmed. Conan wrote 1 minute after First Republican sent the details about the wire transfer. Farrow said that Conan got the home equity line of credit transferred in 3 minutes before the cutoff time at 3 p.m. Eastern ET on October 26th, the same day he opened the account. Records show that that Conan's wife is also listed on the home equity line connected to their personal property. I didn't know the guy was married. Each of the emails the jury is seeing is labeled high importance as they seek to make the transfer from Conan's line of credit to the Essential Consultant account. Internal bank communications show that banking personnel worked to get the transfer approved the same day. An internal email shows an employee internally wrote, "Please expend prior pending wire. Can you please send me confirmation that the funds were deposited into the account, to the other account? Important." Conan wrote to the bank at 4:11 p.m. on October 26th. 4 minutes later, Conan is told the funds have been deposited, fully funded and living for business. The account, Farrow says of the account, or live for business. Sorry. Mangold is showing the wire transfer authorization form that Conan filled out the following morning on October 17th. The wire transfer was for 130 grand from Essential Consultant to Kenneth Davidson trust account. Davidson's client was Stormy Daniels. The wire transfer form says that the beneficiary is Keith M. Davidson Associates PLC Attorney Trust account. It's an account that's held by attorneys on behalf of one of their clients. Witness Gary Fowler explained. Farrow testified that Conan listed the purpose of the wire as retainer. Explaining why an attorney would pay a retainer to another attorney in a real estate transaction. Farrow says there could be a number of things. And at the time, Farrow's understanding was that the new Essential account, a consultant account, was a real estate endeavor. About 50 minutes after Conan walked into the bank to initiate the wire transfer, he received email confirmation that the wire was sent to Keith Davidson. The wire transfer was for $130,000 from Essential Consultants to David's trust account. David's client was Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels. Stormy River. Oh, man. Sorry. Conan's former banker, Farrow, says that opening Conan's account and the transfer of funds out of the account all occurred over the course of 24 hours. Oh. Mangold is now showing that the essential consultants account statement from excuse me, from October 2016, the deposit, the wire transfer, and the $35 wire transfer fee. It shows once more that this happened within 24 hours. The paperwork does not indicate the transfer was made on behalf of a political candidate. Witness Gary Farrow testified. Farrow says that the paperwork was consistent in a real estate transaction. Once again, Farrow is explaining that things would have been different had the bank known that the money was being used on behalf of a political candidate for a media story and on behalf of a film star. Prosecution is really into the paper trail on this transfer and its speed. Okay, apparently that was it. Defense attorney Todd Blanche has started his cross-examination of Michael Cohen, Cohen's former banker, Farrow. Oh, and of course Trump. Meanwhile, sitting back in his chair, his eyes are closed as his lawyer starts his cross-examination of Farrow. Farrow says he met with the Manhattan District Attorney's team twice in the last 2 months ahead of trial. Farrow says he met with prosecutors twice in D.C. in 2018 or 2019 about the same bank activity. Farrow confirms that the banks he works for are paying for his attorneys. Blanche is asking Farrow about his initial meeting with Cohen at Trump Tower when he took him on as a client and how he spoke to Cohen a few times that year. 90% of the time, it was an urgent matter, Farrow said, of dealing with Cohen. Farrow says he was assigned Cohen because he is firm with clients. Blanche is asking, Cohen, you believe, is an aggressive guy, fast speaker, not easy if you're not firm. Farrow says he agrees. Farrow says that when the information about Conan's transaction to Stormy Daniels became public, he was taken off of Conan's account at the bank. Trump didn't bank with First Republic as far as you know, Blanche asked. Farrow says he doesn't know, but confirms Trump did not do business with him. Blanche asked Conan's former. Blanche asked Farrow if he had said this deal was this is a deal I was doing with my employer. You may have asked questions. I would have asked questions, Farrow said. Farrow says he has no idea why the Resolution LLC account was never opened. This was an account that was to be used for payment of McDougal. It's not a red flag, Farrow says. Blanche is confirming that Cohen indicated on the paperwork for Essential Consultants LLC that he was not acting as an agent of anyone when he opened the account. We would have to know who he was acting as an agent for, Farrow said, explaining that they needed proof beyond a verbal assurance. We would have to ensure that he was not working with a person of interest. Farrow is testifying that had he known Essential Consultants was a shell company and not an operating business, he would not have opened the account for Cohen. If a client told me it was a shell corporation, it would not have been open. It would give me pause, very frankly, Farrow said. The only type of shell or corporations he would open would be for a mortgage to remain anonymous, he explained. Farrow confirms that Cohen never told him the account was being opened for political activity. Farrow added that if any account was associated with an entity flagged on an Office of Foreign Asset Control list, the bank would automatically deny the request. Farrow testified he learned Cohen left the Trump organization in March 2017 when he received a bounce back to an email. Blanche reminded Farrow that Cohen opened a new bank account for his new law firm around the same time. Farrow said there was no concerns about the opening of that account. Blanche, when asked, right? It's not a crime. Remember, Trump is not being charged with paying hush money. He's not being charged with it. He's being charged with mislabeling business banking records. That's what he's being charged with. So keep that in mind while you're listening to this and they try to talk about some big conspiracy like they were talking about in their opening statements. It's not what Trump's charged with. He's charged with paying hush money, or not paying hush money, for paying for mislabeling a banking records, like what, 34 times or something like that. Let's see. When asked by Blanche, Farrow says he wouldn't consider Conan a politically exposed person when he was Trump's personal attorney. Banks keep a closer eye on activities for clients they designate are as politically exposed persons, Farrow says. Blanche is asking Farrow, "You've never had any communications with him about Donald Trump himself, did you?" "I did not," Farrow says. "You never have spoken with Donald Trump yourself?" Blanche asks. "I have not," Farrow testified. Farrow confirmed that nothing about the way Conan's essential consultant account was opened, funded, and the wire sent out raised any red flags at the time, not based on the answers I was given for the questions I asked, Farrow says. Cross-examination's over. Prosecutor Mangold is back for redirect. Remember that in court, it goes direct, cross-examination, redirect, recross. And sometimes I redirect and then recross, depending on, and it's really up to the judge's discretion. Farrow confirmed that to attorney Blanche that the decision to close Conan's account was not his. Earlier, he told Mangold the bank chose not to be attached to negative press. Conan's accounts could be closed were closed. The bank said Conan's mortgage was left intact. Farrow confirmed that the closures happened when the bank learned about the Stormy Daniels news. He testified that once a client is no longer honest with them, they choose not to do business with them going forward. Court is taking a quick break. Jury's left. Steinglass is bringing up redactions with Trump's team and where they're not in agreement. The prosecutors want to get in some text from Stormy Daniels' then publicist, Gina Rodriguez, to AMI executive Howard. Prosecutor says these messages help contextualize messages Howard sent to her that they plan to show the jury. Blanche says the text would cause the jury to improperly speculate about what she meant at the time. The judge says he'll rule after the break. Prosecutor Colangelo says if Trump testifies, they would like to use the gag order violations during cross-examinations. Prosecutor Colangelo says prosecutors want to introduce evidence to show that the defendant attempted to dissuade witnesses, including Conan and Daniels, through what he calls a public pressure campaign, retaliation, and harassment online. Colangelo argues that the defense opened the door to these arguments in their opening statement, were criticizing Conan and Daniels for saying their financial livelihood depends on attacking the defendant. The prosecutor says this would be evidence of Trump's consciousness of guilt. Blanche says he wants to know more about what the prosecutors plan to do. Judge said that if the door had been opened, then they'll find out their plan when the prosecutors question witnesses about it, and he'll handle it then. Judge asked Prosecutor Colangelo to explain the aims for presenting evidence that showed Trump attempted to dissuade witnesses like Conan and Daniels. Colangelo says the first reason is to offset the defense claim that the witnesses are benefiting from their willingness to testify. Showing their cooperation with law enforcement has harmed them more than it has helped them. Really? Has it really? Second purpose is to explain why both witnesses initially denied certain facts and have now acknowledged those facts, Colangelo says. Oh, okay. Third reason is to introduce evidence to show Donald or Trump's consciousness of guilt. Colangelo says again. Judge asked Colangelo to elaborate on what evidence would articulate a consciousness of guilt. Colangelo wants to show the jury Trump's public comments back when Conan's home was first raided in 2018. Trump spoke positive of his then personal fixer at the time. Prosecutors also want to show the jury Judge changed of tune in public comments about Conan after he started cooperating with law enforcement against Trump. Blanche responded that the idea that the President Trump was feeling guilty or somehow had conscious guilt with his comments with Conan in 2018 doesn't work. The statements that Trump made at the time leading up to Conan's guilty plea were not conscious of guilt in anything happening in this courtroom. The risk the jury will hear that and use that as an improper purpose is huge. Judge isn't making his decision yet on this. Yeah. Like, just because, okay. So say you're not guilty and you have a buddy, he gets raided from the FBI. And then you're like, and then you're like, hey, it's my buddy. He's my pal. Or he's someone I know. He does good work for me. He's very helpful. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say hey, he's a good guy. As far as I know, he's done nothing wrong. As far as I know, he's whatever. He's a good person. Then you find out he's cooperating law enforcement against you. You're telling me that even though that even if you're innocent, you're not going to be bashing the guy live if you're able to. This asshole is testifying against you to save his own skin for his own fuck ups. So yeah, I don't agree that's a consciousness of guilt. It's more of this asshole. This asshole was my buddy, or at least someone I knew and we were on good terms with, and now he's turning against me and trying to cut a deal so he doesn't have to go to jail. Fuck that asshole. I think that's way more likely than a consciousness of guilt. Let's see. Apparently, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is inside the Manhattan courthouse with Donald Trump to show his support for his longtime ally. With President Trump and NYC to sit through the sham of trial, this trial is a travesty of justice. I stand with Trump. Trump, notably, helped pressure Texan Republican senators to acquit Paxton during an impeachment trial last year. Okay, so the judge assessing a Blanchett is asking to keep breaks short, adding like he doesn't like to keep the jury waiting. Let's try and keep the break short. Judge says, let's do better. All right, court will not be in session. So judge ruled court will not be in session the Friday before Memorial Day, May 24th, because the jury has to catch a flight. Neither side objected. Judge says he won't let prosecutors introduce some text messages from Gina Rodriguez, Stormy Daniels, then publicist. The judge said they are prejudicial and don't advance anything. That's good. It's a good call. A judge says that he will allow prosecutors to raise Donald Trump's 2018 comments about Conan and Daniels for their first two purposes. To rebut claims that they are benefiting financially from attacking Trump and why they denied certain facts. But the judge says prosecutors cannot use Trump's claims to argue consciousness of guilt as of now. It's a good call. I think it's a good call. I think, these comments were gonna come in. I get the first two reasonings, rebut the claim they're benefiting financially and why they denied certain facts. It's a good argument. I can go with that. But the whole consciousness of guilt made no fucking sense to me. So the judge made two good calls, in my opinion. He's not allowing these texts to be introduced, text messages to be introduced, and this call about Trump's comments. Again, I get the first two, rebutting the claims and why they denied the facts, certain facts. Get it? Makes sense. Okay, makes sense to me. But the conscience and guilt was complete bullshit. All right. Prosecutors are calling their fourth witness, Dr. Robert Browning, the executive director of C-SPAN Archives. His testimony will be a vehicle to get records into evidence. Mangold is handling question. Browning is a professor of Purdue University and teaches courses on the U.S. Congress and media in his university bio states. An executive director of C-SPAN Video Library, Brown accepted a Peabody Award in 2010 for excellence in communication, for creating an enduring archive of history of American policymaking, and for providing it as a free, user-friendly public service. C-SPAN received a subpoena to testify, confirms Browning. Subpoena was for Manhattan District Attorney's Office to turn over recordings in its archives of Trump, Browning says. Browning is explaining to the jury what a network pool is. Browning says they are able to authenticate the feed while the event is taking place. There's a producer who's watching video from beginning to end to make sure there's no interruptions in transmission. It's Browning's first time testifying at trial. He traveled from Indiana for this. He said he's a little nervous. A little bit nervous. Browning has now explained that C-SPAN Digital Video Library is, or what it is. He says it has 278,000 digital hours to date. So they're bringing in clips. So these are probably what they're talking about, is bringing in these Trump's 2018 clips. Okay. Prosecutors are now entering clips into evidence as Browning sits at the witness stand. These three, so this guy's basically being used to authenticate as an authentication of this evidence. Really, these three clips were played to the jury. A video recording dated October 14, 2016, presidential candidate Trump in Greensboro, North Carolina. A clip from video October 22nd of 2016, president candidate Donald Trump remarks in Gettysburg, PA. A clip from January 11th, 2017, a news conference with President-elect Trump. As you see now, as you have seen right now, I'm being viciously attacked with lies and smears. It's a phony deal. I have no idea who these women are, Trump says in the first clip they're playing from October 2016. This was in response to the stories of women alleging sexual assault after the Access Hollywood tape was released in 2016. These are horrible lies, fabricated, Trump said in the other video taken in PA. Conan is a very talented lawyer. He's a good lawyer in my firm, was said in the third clip. I kind of made Trump sound like Obama, apparently. And Browning is off the stand. There's no cross-examination. He testified for a total of 14 minutes. Yeah. Like I said, this guy was just in to get to, because when you have evidence to bring in, you got to have a way to authenticate them. And that's what this guy was. You basically introduce evidence through witnesses. They have to confirm it. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Prosecutors have called their fifth witness, is Sam Thompson, works for a court reporting company. Prosecutor Mangold is questioning Thompson, who said he's testifying on behalf of his company, Esquire Deposition Solutions, in response to subpoena. According to his LinkedIn profile, Thompson is the regional director of field operations at Esquire Deposition Solutions. The services provide several services aimed at supporting legal teams, including managing depositions, court reporting, and legal videograph, according to his witnesses. We're going to go over the nuts and bolts of depositions. Thompson explains that depositions are recorded via court reporter. prepares a transcript, and sometimes they also videotape. Thompson Company, Esquire Deposition Solutions, was subpoenaed for the video and transcripts of Trump's October 2022 deposition taken in the E.G. Jean Carroll defamation case. This is really dumb. Depends on the questions, I guess. I'll see. I can't remember why the judge agreed to let him in, but it's a dumb decision, I think. And I think I said it was a dumb decision to do. E. Jean Carroll has nothing to do with this case because E. Jean Carroll wasn't paid off for in secret by Trump. This really has nothing to do with the case. Again, Trump is not being charged with bribe or paying hush money. He's being charged with mislabeling business records. So why is the deposition of E. Jean Carroll important to this case? Let's see. Esquire produced more than one version of the transcripts of Trump's deposition. Both the substance of Trump's testimony is identical in both versions. Thompson says Trump did not submit any corrections to his testimony. The jury has shown the cover page of the transcript of the video deposition of Donald Trump, which took place on October 19th, 22, at the former president's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Prosecutors playing a clip for the deposition of Trump's describing Truth Social. It's a platform that's been opened by me as an alternative to Twitter, Trump says in the deposition. They also have a corresponding transcript excerpt to accompany the video clip. In the second video clip, Trump confirms he is married to Melania Trump since 2005. Been married for a while then. The next video clip, Trump is asked about the Access Hollywood tape. That's you in the video speaking. Trump is asked about the tape. Yes, correct. Trump says in the clip that's being shown. That's it? Okay, apparently that was it for this guy, for what's the guy fucking name is? Thompson? Yeah, Thompson. That's what was all for this guy, Thompson. And now Kenneth Davidson is called to the stand. Kenneth Davidson, former attorney for Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, is called to the witness stand and is next being questioned by prosecutor Steinglass. Davidson glances over to, I don't care. Thompson, the fifth witness, testified for a total of 19 minutes, testified on behalf of his company, Esquire Deposition Solutions. Steinglass is beginning his question by walking through Kenneth Davidson's employment history. Davidson says he owns his own law firm in Los Angeles. Davidson and Associates. My throat is killing me. When asked about the period of time from 15 to 17, the time I practiced was heavily involved in media cases. Davidson confirmed his work frequently involved non-disclosure agreements in those cases. Davidson says he received immunity to testify in the grand jury, but did not seek it. He says he's testifying today pursuant to a subpoena. Under New York law, a person can automatically get immunity for testifying before a grand jury. Davidson says he's known Gina Rodriguez, for over 10 years. He says he's represented her in legal matters over the years. He also confirms his relationship with Howard, saying he's known him for well over 10 years through professional matters. Davidson categorizes his relationship with Howard as professional acquaintance and friends. Davidson says he rarely negotiates a sale of stories to the tabloids. Davidson tells prosecutors he had very little contact with Howard or with Pecker, saying he only ever interacted with Pecker 3 or 4 times in his life. Davidson explains how he knows Conan, saying they first spoke over a blog post in 11 involving his client and Trump. Steinglass asked Davidson who that client was, and he replied that she was Stephanie Clifford, also known as adult film star Stormy Daniels. Conan was working on Trump's behalf, where they interacted over Stormy Daniels' blog post, Davidson testified. Davidson was given a thumb drive in court with emails and attachments from his law firm servers. Again, this is really important when it comes to the fucking... Oh, I guess... Okay, maybe this part's a little important, actually. Sorry. Davidson is being asked if he knows McDougal. She was a client of mine, he said, adding that he met her 25 years ago when she was dating his friend. Davidson is McDougal's former attorney. Davidson said he represented McDougal in 2016 to provide her advice of counsel about her rights about a personal interaction she had with Trump. Davidson said McDougal became his client because they were reintroduced by her former brother-in-law. Davidson was shown an email he sent to former Playboy model McDougal saying, "Great seeing you today. I've already started on your case." The email also contained a retainer agreement and was dated June 15, 2016. Jury is shown a portion of the retainer agreement that explains the scope of the work. In part, it reads, "Client is hiring attorney to represent client in a matter of client claim against Trump and or assisting client in negotiating a confidentiality agreement and or life rights relating to interaction with Trump and or negotiation assignment of exclusive press opportunity regarding same." Davidson says he won't get into his discussions with McDougal about this agreement, but says that the paragraph above authorized him to negotiate with media outlet on his client's behalf. Yeah, that goes in the realm of client attorney-client confidentiality. Jury now sees texts that Davidson sent to Howard. First text is sent June 7th, 2016. Davidson texts, "I have a blockbuster Trump story." Howard responds, "Talk first thing. I will get you more than anyone for it. You know why." Davidson explained he reached out concerning the allegations in the alleged interaction with McDougal and Trump. Davidson testified it was meant to be an entree or a teaser to let Howard know he had a good story. He also testified, "I don't know if I had a clear understanding at the time, but he said he understood Pecker and Trump were friends and that AMI had endorsed Trump." Prosecutors are now going over text messages between Davidson and Howard. A June 10th text about Howard reads, "Do you cheat on Melania?" Another text on June 12th, text from Howard reads, "Do you know if the affair was during his marriage to Melania? I really can't say yet. Sorry." Davidson responds on June 12th. Steinglass then asked Davidson whether he said that because he didn't know or because it wasn't prepared to discuss details yet. "It's because I was not prepared to discuss details at that point," Davidson says. Testifying, Davidson has been referring to the matter as the personal interaction that Karen had with Trump. Steinglass just asked to say what it is. McDougal alleged she had a romantic affair with Trump some years prior, Davidson says. Asked if the relationship was sexual in nature, Davidson said that's what she expressed. Davidson is now discussing June 2016 meeting he arranged between McDougal and Howard, where she told her story about Trump to AMI. AMI initial response was to decline to purchase McDougal's story with the reason that she lacked documentary evidence for the interaction. After the meeting, we said we'd keep in touch, Davidson said, and text message from June 27th, 2016. Davidson texted Howard, "It's a story that should be told." "I agree," Howard texts back in response. Davidson confirms he was also in discussion with ABC about McDougal's story. On July 27th, former editor-in-chief Howard said, texted, let's talk DT Ross." DT/Ross. I think this is entree for me to go back to them. This is a reference to ABC News journalist Brian Ross. Davidson replied, "Better be quick." Davidson said he assumed the text meant Howard would go back to Pecker to revisit negotiations over McDougal's story. Davidson explained why he went to ABC News as well as National Enquirer. The time, as if I assume that means is, as is often the case with negotiations, I was trying to play two entities off of each other. Davidson said, adding the objective was to create a sense of urgency, if you will. His goal was to get the best deal for his client with whichever outlet. Davidson said. Howard said he told Davidson, "We need to talk urgently." Davidson says he assumes that message was conveyed to to Pecker. Davidson told prosecutors that McDougal was teetering about the ABC deal. Earlier, he confirmed he was also in discussions with ABC News about McDougal's story. In July 22nd, Davidson texts Howard, "Don't forget about Conan. Time is of the essence. This girl is being cornered by the estrogen mafia." That's hilarious. Testifying about the estrogen media comment, Davidson called it a very regrettable text I sent. The phrase is not one a user came up with. It's a term I think it was a term I think by one of Karen's associates at the first meeting. Estrogen media. That's hilarious. Davidson is testifying that McDougal did not want to tell her story. Davidson says McDougal's goal were to rejuvenate her career, to make money, and to avoid telling a story and being termed the Scarlet Letter. She didn't want to be termed the other woman, he said. On July 23rd, 2016, Howard texted Davidson, "Get me a price on McDougal, all in, consult gig perhaps as a fitness expert thrown in the mix." ABC deal required her to tell her story, so she liked the AMI deal that wouldn't force her to do that, Davidson said. That was one of her stated goals, not to have to tell her story, he says. Davidson is testifying about his first offer with Howard. Davidson offered to Howard over text was, "How about $1 million now?" Meaning $1 million, he explained, and $70K per year for the next 2 years as a fitness correspondent for AMI and your related pubs. I'll take it to him, but I think it's more hundreds than millions. Howard responded over text on July 23rd. Davidson said he interpreted the warning to mean I should expect a counter offer that was substantially less. Davidson responded by offering $800K now and $100K per year for a total of $1 million. Howard responds, "Leave with me," suggesting they were not in the same ballpark. He testified, "We're going to lay it on thick for her," Howard texted Davidson on July 28, 16. Davidson replied, "Good. Throw in an ambassadorship for me. I think Island of Man." Joke. It was sort of in jest, Davidson said. That was just a joke. Davidson said the joke was in reference to Mr. Trump's candidacy. That somehow, if Trump did this deal with AMI, it would help Trump's candidacy, he testified. Yeah, of course it would. Less, anytime there's less scandal, that's good. Oh, that's funny. That's a good joke. I like an attorney with a sense of humor. Davidson testified that at the point in the conversation with Howard, Karen McDougal was teetering between two competing deals, and we had requested meetings with each entity could make a pitch as to why they were the correct avenue for Karen, he added. Howard texted Davidson on July 28th. She'll get more out of the deal with AMI than ABC. I need this to happen. Davidson responded over text. Court break for lunch. So we're about halfway through. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, we're living on a pair. There we go. Now we're back in session. Witness Davidson is looking at another series of texts from August of 16 regarding the regarding the Karen McDougal deal. Davidson texted Howard, "I can't believe they are asking me to go back to another 25, but they are. he deal. The deal is accepted at 150K. Can you do that? Howard responded, he just called me. Fuck it, not my money. I'll ask. Prosecutor Steinglass is continue walking Howard through the text. I think he means Davidson through the text messages. We're figuring out the mechanics of the deal already. Howard texted Davidson August 2016. Right now, I mean, Howard said in a follow-up text. We had come to terms by this point at AMI on the deal points. Davidson testified as he explained an August 15, 2016 text message discussion. Concerns with the agreement he had received from AMI General Counsel. Testifying about 2016 text surrounding discussion with around the McDougal deal, Kenneth Davidson described growing frustration. On my side of the aisle, there was growing frustration about the process, Davidson testified. It was difficult to redline something that didn't even closely resemble the deal points that had initially been reached, Davidson added. AMI General Counsel suggests Cameron Stancher suggests Davidson call Conan. Davidson texted Howard, wants me to call Cohen. You think that's okay? I've been trying like hell to avoid that. Davidson says that even when we spoke, he and AMI General Counsel still weren't on the same page. He explained this is why Stratcher told him to call Conan. Davidson testified, I thought it was odd that he was told to call Conan. Davidson says he didn't want to talk to Conan because his last conversation with Conan in 2011 around the blog post, he said it was not pleasant or constructive. I didn't like dealing with him, and that's why I was trying like hell to avoid him. Okay, we are paying, Howard texted Davidson. On August 8th, 2016, glad it's all sorted. Fucking Jesus, Howard texted. Davidson testified it was just a frustrating deal for everyone involved. It was a lot of heavy lifting. Yes, I believe so. I told Conan this would never happen without you, Davidson responded. Howard, he's hopeless. Oh, well, another one done, Howard responded. Another one bites dust. Prosecutors are now showing Davidson email to Conan on August 5th, 2016, asking Conan to call him. I called him to let him know as a professional courtesy that the deal involving his client closed. Davidson testified. Steinglass asked him who was Cohen's client. Trump, Davidson said. Trump was not named in was not a named party in deal, Davidson said, but he also recognized the benefit this deal was McDougal would serve Trump. Steinglass is showing the jury that text messages were sent the same day as the effective date of AMI's contract with McDougal. Davidson said he received 45% of the deal of the 150K deal. Damn. Let's see, 45%. It's like 5% less than half. Let's see. So 67, 500,000. 67 and 500,000. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Davidson says there's two explanations for why AMI would buy McDougal's story without planning to run it. First, where they were trying to build up her brand and the story would not help it. The second was more of an unspoken understanding. I think one explanation was that given that they were trying to build Karen into a brand and didn't want to diminish her reputation. And the second was for the unspoken understanding that there was a close affiliation between Pecker and Trump, and the AMI would not run this story or any related story to Karen and Trump because it would tend to hurt Trump. I mean, also, it's another reason was she didn't want her story to be run. It's another reason. Stormy Daniels was a client of mine, Davidson says. Days after the contract was signed, but before AMI wired McDougal the money, Davidson texted Howard, I'm going to let ABC know that Karen has decided to keep her story quiet. I'm going to let them know that the family has begged and pleaded with her not to come out with it, and she's promised the family she wouldn't do it. I will have Karen ignore all their calls, any objections. I needed to sort of offboard ABC, Davidson testified. Davidson sent a cease and desist letter to the blog of on Stormy Daniels' behalf. The 2011 post about Daniels' relationship with Trump. Rodriguez, who represented Daniels in 2011, referred her to Davidson then, called Davidson saying, "Some jerk called me and was very aggressive and threatened to sue me, and I would like you, Kenneth, to call this jerk back." "Who was the jerk?" Steinglass asked. "Michael Cohen," David said. When he called Cohen, Davidson recalled being immediately met with hostile barrage of insult, insinuations, and allegations that went on for quite a while. "I don't think he was accusing us of anything. He was just screaming," Davidson said of Cohen. Davidson said he was successful in accomplishing my client's goals of getting a blog post taken down after he sent the cease and desist letter. The jury's getting a picture that Conan is aggressive and difficult to deal with. Really? He didn't get that from the 1,000 of other one? Blanche cracked a smile when Davidson described Conan smiling. Let's see. Howard texted Davidson on June 30th of 2016. FYI, Gina is trying to hawk Stormy again, reference to her manager, Rodriguez. Part of Gina's role and responsibility, the services she provided, was to monetize stories in the press. She's like a storyboker, Davidson said in explaining the text messages. Gina was bringing the story back to market, Davidson explained. Davidson responded to Howard at the time, "LO, is she's trying to sell a story to you?" Davidson is being asked about what impact that release of Access Hollywood tape had on the interest in Daniel's story. Davidson says there was very little interest in the marketplace in Daniel's story about the alleged affair with Trump in summer of 2016 through the fall, but the Access Hollywood tape sparked interest in Daniel's story, Davidson said. That's when interest in her story reached a crescendo. So far as I am aware, it had a tremendous influence, Davidson said. No one wanted text message between Howard and Davidson about the Access Hollywood tapes, like the other exhibits, have been displayed on individual screens in front of the jury for them to see closely. On October 10th, Howard connected Davidson and Cohen via text. Kenneth/Michael connecting you both in regards to that business opportunity. Spoke to the client this AM, and they're confirmed to proceed with the opportunity. Thanks, Dylan. Davidson explained that Rodriguez and Howard had come to an agreement for AMI to purchase Daniel's story, but then AMI backed out of the deal. Davidson explained how he ultimately came to be involved. The moral of the story is no one wanted to talk to Cohen, saying that both he and Rodriguez both refused to deal directly with Cohen. Howard called Davidson to convince him to work with him to get the deal done. In response to the release of Access Hollywood tape, Davidson texted Howard, "Trump is fucked." Davidson is explaining in court. "Wave the white flag. It's over, people." Howard responded to Davidson, according to Davidson. Responded to Davidson text, according to Davidson. Davidson testified he texted Howard on October 9th, 2016, letting him know that about a published story from a gossip website called TheDirty.com, referencing his client Daniels. Davidson texted Howard about the website republished the original blog post following the release of Access Hollywood tape, saying, "Hi, the story's already out there." Howard texted Davidson, "Yeah, but her talking, redacted, is the final nail in the coffin, but he's fucked already." Davidson explained that he thought Howard meant that the dirty post was bad, but it could be a lot worse if Daniel spoke publicly. Howard was washing his hands of the deal, Davidson said, of Stormy Daniels' story. Remember how publisher Pecker testified last week that he wanted nothing to do with adult film stars, even if it would help Trump. It would not play well with big tabloid distributors like Walmart, he said on the stand. Davidson said it was unusual for Howard to refer him to someone outside AMI to arrange a deal. This is the only time it ever happened. Davidson said when he got involved, the deal had already been cut at 120. Davidson testified Stormy and Gina weren't going to take a discount so that 120 became 130, referencing to the amounts of 120K and 130K. Davidson says the deal with AMI was essentially the same deal that was struck with Conan, and after AMI washed its hands, they handed it off to Conan. In its essence, Conan stepped into AMI's shoes, Davidson said. Steinglass is now showing an email from Davidson to Conan with Stormy Daniels' agreement attachment. The email states that there's a settlement sum of 130. According to Davidson, when he got involved, Howard told him the deal would go up to 150 to compensate the lawyer, and either AMI Media or Conan would pay for it. Ultimately, it was settled at 130K. Davidson is explaining how they use fake names in the agreement between Trump and Daniels. Peggy Peterson was used Daniels because she was a plaintiff. David Dennison was used for Trump because he was a defendant. Asked if David Dennison is a real person, Davidson said, yes, he was my high school hockey team. He was on my high school hockey team. Steinglass asked, how does he feel about you now? He's very upset. Davidson said, trying some laughs. That's hilarious. I gotta take some water. He's very upset. Davidson said, drawing laughs from some jerseys. Yeah, that's funny. Davidson said, manager Rodriguez approached him and asked him to close the deal. It's going to be the easiest deal you ever done in your entire life, Davidson says, pauses, and then let out a little laugh. Rodriguez told him that it had already been negotiated. All you have to do is talk to that asshole Conan. Davidson recalled. He chuckled on the stand as he said it, with a dramatic pause for the jury to catch the irony. The agreement with Davidson emailed included a request deadline of October 15th for Conan to provide money, but Davidson says the money was not sent by that date. Davidson emailed on October 12th, 2016. Davidson says he believed Conan began making excuses for failures to fund their agreement as he walked through email he exchanged with Conan in October 2016. On October 14, 2016, Davidson sent Conan wiring instructions for a second time after Conan said he'd send the money that day. October 17, Davidson emailed Conan at his Trump org address again. I have been charged by my client with a foreign below message. Message include we have a written settlement agreement which calls for settlement payments to be sent by end of business this past Friday, October 14th, 2016. No fund was received. We spoke on Friday, October 14th. You stated that the funds would be wired October 17th, 2016. No funds have been received as of sending of this email. My client informs me that she intends to cancel the settlement contract if funds are not received by 5 p.m. today. Davidson listed a series of excuses Conan gave him after he followed up about Daniel's payment, including the computer systems are all fucked up, placing blame on the Secret Service, among others. The Secret Service is in here. We got so many goddamn firewalls, Davidson called Conan saying. Conversation with Conan were conciliatory, but full of contradictions that made Davidson feel Conan didn't plan to fund the deal. Davidson said on the stand, after days of making excuses with no money wire, Davidson said he told Conan, I don't believe a word really that you say. Conan responded, goddamn, what do you expect me to do? My guy's in 5 different states today. Davidson testified that he came to believe that Conan didn't have the authority to spend the money. I think you can tell by these emails I was sending him, there was a great level of frustration by me and my client. Davidson said, I let him know the level of dissatisfaction was quite high. He stated, "God damn it, I'll just do it myself." Davidson testified. Davidson says he wrote an email to Conan on October 17. Please be advised that my client deems her settlement agreement canceled and void ab initio, which means from the start. Please further be advised I'm no longer representing her in this matter or any matters. Davidson added in the email. Davidson said he let Conan know he was off the case. I didn't want to receive a million frustrating calls from Michael, he says. Davidson says this email was a straw that broke the camel's back, and this is where push came to shove. Okay, so yeah, so the appellate court, while Tuesday. Yeah, so they denied the stay. Trump is leaning in. Oh, I don't care what Trump does. Davidson says he says he had conversation with Howard during this time where he said he would express that Conan was not being truthful. I thought he was trying to kick the can down the road until after the election, Davidson testified about Conan's excuses for not coming up with the funds. Yeah, absolutely. Short break. Decline response. Okay. Nope. All right. Davidson is back on the stand. The jury is being shown another strings of text messages between Davidson, Howard, and Howard. Deal to pay Daniels seemed to crumble. Davidson texts, I can't believe Conan let this go. This is going to be a shit show. I bet, all because Trump is tight. Davidson explained to jury when he said Trump is tight, he meant that Trump was frugal. Davidson said he believed that they had a deal. This deal sort of on a silver platter, and it was just there for the taking. He said the only reason the deal didn't close was because they didn't want to spend the money. Trump's lawyers object to a line of questioning related to Davidson's grand jury testimony. Judge sustained the objection. Again, I think sustaining means good. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So sustained. The objection was upheld. Steinglass just asked Davidson, did you have an understanding of how the deal was going to be funded? Davidson said he had an assumption. Trump was looking at a note from Blanche just now, and the attorney was smiling. Trump was not, and handed it back to him. Trump leaned back to look towards Steinglass as the judge continues to sustain objections to the prosecutor's questions. Davidson said it was my understanding that Mr. Trump was a beneficiary of the contract. Davidson added that typically, in his experience, the beneficiary funds the deal. The judge sustained a defense objection to that speculation and struck that part of Davidson's answer, though the jury heard it in open court. Yeah, oh, cool. Sustaining and instructing the answer is great, but doesn't really do anything because the jury still hears it. We're back to looking at text messages between Davidson and Howard. These texts pick up after Howard said Trump was tight. Howard texted Davidson, I reckon that Trump impersonator I hired has more cash. Davidson testified he interpreted the text meaning that Trump wasn't as wealthy as he stated. Or maybe Trump didn't have anything to do with the fucking deal. And that's why he wasn't funding it. Could be a possibility. Davidson is now discussing a series of texts from 16. Actually, you know what could be far more likely is Conan was handling this all by himself was going to bring it to Trump afterwards and be like, look what I did. I did this myself. And then he got the settlement and everything. He couldn't come up with the funds himself. And Trump probably was like, I'm not going to fund this. You didn't come with me. It's a good possibility. Davidson is now discussing a series of texts from October 2016 about efforts to salvage the Stormy Daniels deal. On October 25th, Howard texted Davidson, going to see Pecker in 15. We'll ask for an update. Any word? I'm awaiting a call any second. Davidson responded via text. He testified he could not remember who that was in reference to. Davidson said he thought AMI was attempting to resurrect the Stormy Daniels deal. Davidson explained that Howard forwarded him a text Howard had sent to Conan. I wrote Kenneth calling you urgently. We have to coordinate something on the matter he's calling you about, or could look awfully bad for everyone. Howard texted Davidson, push Conan for the cash, DP, and I just told him to pay the $150K. Davidson texted Howard saying he says that you are paying. Jury is now showing is now seeing an email from October 26th of 2016 from Kenneth Davidson and Michael Conan with wiring instructions. This is the fourth or fifth time I sent my wiring instructions to Mr. Michael Conan. Davidson testified. Let's see, their excuse for the day. So apparently there's no apparently there's no trial today. So Thursday. Before breaking for the day, Davidson described Conan like a dog who yells squirrel. Sandglass asked how was Conan's demeanor during this time on the phone. He was highly excitable, sort of a pants on fire kind of guy, Davidson said. So there we go. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a trial today. Doesn't look like it. Oh, that's hilarious. So no trial today. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow. I got a few things I'll talk about. Should be of interest. So there we go. Oh my god. Oh. So there we go. We got some interesting information from Davidson. He's the only witness that was of interest really so far. A lot of speculation, no real proof of anything. Yeah, it looks like Conan. Yeah, no, absolutely. Conan was trying to back out of the deal as much as he could. Absolutely. No, he was absolutely trying to kick the deal down the road in hopes that it would go, that by the time Trump was elected, it would have been over and there would be a so that, when time comes, Trump wouldn't have, or Conan wouldn't have to pay. It was like, well, it's not a big deal. My guy's already elected. And by the time he's up for re-election, this story will be long dead. That's true. Absolutely true. So, I mean, if Conan could have done that, that would have been nice. He could reach a deal, hush the story, and then Trump would still got elected. So this is hilarious. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed that. This trial's fairly interesting so far. But again, a lot of this really doesn't matter. A lot of stuff being introduced doesn't fucking matter. I didn't even think a lot of the Stormy Daniels stuff doesn't matter because, like, maybe for like some backstory, but it doesn't really matter. And also, this is making Cohen look really bad. He's not someone that honors his deals at all, apparently, or tries to avoid his deals. And again, Trump isn't charged with paying Stormy Daniels up. He's not charged with that. He's charged with actually mislabeling business records. That's what he's really charged with. So this whole, a lot of stuff is just a distraction and meant to remind you Trump's a bad guy and all this, so that instead of looking at the evidence of what he's actually charged with, the jury will charge him because the prosecutor made him look like a bad guy. It's what this is all really about. And he tried to and he stole an election in 2016. That's all this really is. None of this is actually important to the actual case at hand. But yeah, what do I know? Yeah. So let me see. So yeah. So judge says she'll see him Thursday. So apparently no trial today. I'll make sure to double check that. But yeah. So I think tomorrow I'll definitely talk about the Tennessee bill that just got introduced. It's allowing teachers to be armed. And I'm sure I got some other stories I'll do. I was expecting 2 days where there wasn't a trial. So I was expecting that. So I did a reaction stream yesterday. No big deal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys give me a like and a follow. And I hope you all have a good day. Make sure you, like I said, follow me, like, subscribe, whatever show you're watching this on. But for sure, follow me on X at @OfficialWGhost. This is the best way to find out when I go live. And if you could, go over to Rumble and follow me on Rumble. I'd really appreciate that. I hope you all have a good time and be here tomorrow, same time, same place. All right, peace.